Check 1, 2. I'm a deaf DJ, so.
Oh, so yeah, you know. But no, you was in Prince shit. Prince, man, oh my God. That shit would be so loud sometime, man.
I know.
Oh my God. He could peel the skin off the back of your neck, man. He could make the hair just, oh, God damn. It's funky, but goddamn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I acquired some of that.
Just,
I wonder what his hearing was like.
oh, I bet it was bad.
I bet it's bad. Dustin, come on, are you asking that?
I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
There's no way, right?
Dude.
It's physics. You can't be around music that's loud for that long.
No, I was up close and personal, man, at a young age.
Yeah.
And, we were loud, man. We were fucking loud. So we had to be able to play good, because if we didn't, we was going to be a nightmare.
This is Purple Highs. I am Mark Bondi here with my co-host
DJ WD.
and y'all are in for something tonight, today, whenever you're listening to this. This is going to be fantastic, wonderful, amazing. Dudley, tell them where we're at.
Man, we are in the Bean Cave, so I've heard, and I'm looking around, and I thought Takumi had a lot of. I was Takumi's roommate. I thought Takumi had a lot of guitars, but sorry, Takumi.
Yeah.
Takumi, yeah, we've hit a new level. We're hanging out with Jellybean Johnson. What's up, Jellybean?
How y'all doing? How you doing?
We are doing great. It is just wonderful to be here tonight. We're so excited.
This is the first time we've gone on the road to record anything.
Yeah.
Usually people come to
wow.
us,
You just come, yeah.
but you special,
I appreciate the love, brother.
It was worth the drive across town to get here.
Yeah, the y'all in Savage, huh?
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm representing that Golden Valley life right now.
Oh, okay. So you kind of like me.
Yeah, but before that, I was living in North Minneapolis. And
you really like me. That's where I grew up at.
I know you grew up there because and we're not gonna call out specific streets, but
Yeah.
I grew up, or I owned a house on Vincent Street. I still owned a house, and I'm in the back, doing some yard work or whatever, and I'm talking to one of the neighbors, Mark, and he's telling me about the music scene, and he's like, yeah, and Morris Day lived there,
Yeah.
Andre Simone lived there,
Yeah,
and Jellybean, he lived in one of these.
Yes, I did. Grew up in them.
And essentially it was the house next door to mine.
Get out of here.
I kid you not. So,
oh my God.
So
Small
it's a small world. So
man.
I got to tell this story because I want to hear about it. And this is like for all of time for my children, really. So this all y'all listeners maybe hit pause, but so we had some raspberries, so I had my kids do a raspberry stand, and we were out on the corner, we're selling raspberries, good deal, $3 for the raspberries, you go to buy at least $4 anyway. Gentleman walks by and we sell him some raspberries, and he's old school gentleman, right? And he's telling me the story about how Prince played in front of one of these houses down the street. And I'm like, well, I bet you I know what house it was. And I want to know, is this a true story? Did y'all do gigs on Vincent Avenue North?
Well, Prince was over there on Russell with Andre Simone and stuff. But Flight Time did play in front of my house.
Okay.
My house is 1506 Vincent.
Yep.
We actually played out on the lawn one day. Yeah.
Was it for something, or was it like?
I can't remember. It might have been a special event of some sort.
Right.
But we were teenagers, and we were always wanted to show that we could play and that we was funky and all that. And we right in front of my house, bro, out on the lawn.
All right. So who's playing right in front of the lawn and 15th and Vincent?
15th and Vincent would have been me, Terry Lewis, David Island, Cynthia Johnson from Funky Town.
Nice.
Fame, yeah. Jimmy Anderson, Chipmunk. Bob Johnson, who just recently passed away, Big Bob, trombone.
Yep.
Robert Martin, who's a retired fireman. He was a trumpet player. Our keyboard player was Gary McCrae.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was Flight Time.
So as Flight Time was playing, like, are the neighbors coming out? Like, I mean, y'all ain't playing. We were talking before we started this interview. Y'all weren't playing like, quiet.
No, we was funky, man. Cool in the Gang. We had horns. We had a horn. Flight Time had a horn section. So all the horn bands we were into.
Yeah.
The Cool in the Gangs and Tower Powers and.
Were you doing your own
Cold
stuff
Blood.
too, or was
and we were doing some
okay.
original stuff too? Yeah.
So you were playing both and. So
both and.
How did that band start?
Oh my God. Well, three of us in there were athletes. Me, Terry Lewis was a world class sprinter.
Oh wow.
You know, he had records in sprinter, and David Allen was a world class high jumper.
Okay.
And he went to Roosevelt.
Okay.
So, and we all were North Side. You know.
Okay. Were you North High?
No, that's the thing. That's the other thing. We all were around the city. Terry was at North. I was at Marshall University.
Okay.
I was busing up from North over to the Southeast on the campus University of Minnesota.
Yeah, you know where that is, Dustin? You know where the House of Hanson used to be?
Yeah.
Dinkytown, right across from the House of Hanson. There used to be that building. I think it's gone now. I think there's a Target there.
Yeah, I was at high school over there called Marshall University, and David Allen was at Roosevelt.
Okay.
You know him. You know our keyboard player in the time, Monty Moyer. He's a graduate of Roosevelt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some people moving all over the place.
So we're all over
how
the
did y'all
place.
connect then? Like, how was it just like we play music, you play music?
We play music, you play music, and you know we were all teenagers, and we all had these same interests. And like for me, David and Terry, we're like I was on the basketball team. Terry was on the football team. David was on the basketball team and track team. Terry was on track team too.
Okay.
And we would get together after school, after we did our various practice, because you had to practice with that stuff too. And then so around 6 o'clock, we'd meet at David Allen's dad was vice president of Pillsbury.
Nice.
So he had a big house on Plymouth and Upton.
Okay.
And that's where Flight Time used to rehearse in the basement. And we would get there about 6 o'clock every day after we'd had the various practices and all that. Yeah. And Flight Time would practice till about, maybe 9 o'clock. At least till his dad and mom say, y'all gotta stop that.
But y'all are right in that pocket.
We're right in that
there,
pocket.
kind of
and
Plymouth,
like I said,
Plymouth Avenue.
Plymouth Avenue, us on Upton, up the street on Russell was Prince and Andre Simone. Because Prince had moved in when Andre. Yeah. And Terry Jackson, William Dowdy, Linda Anderson.
Yep.
So all them.
And I know Prince has his crew too. So y'all battling, like, are y'all? Yeah, are you working extra hard, like on the rehearsal side, being like, are we getting these guys? Or
well, we used to get at them. They'll admit it, and I've said this publicly and got myself in, with the Prince people get mad sometimes. You got to be careful what you say.
Yeah. There's a lot of passion.
They forget I was there, but they still want to fight me about it. But anyway, Prince was kind of jealous of us because Flight Time had a horn section.
Yeah.
And Grand Central didn't. They were just like a combo. They had keyboards and even though they was funky as hell, but that was the difference. So they would come watch us, and we had our various battles. Right down the street from there was the Way.
Yep.
It's like, so every year in those early years, the Way would throw a big thing in the summertime, a big festival right outside the Way on Plymouth Avenue. And they blocked Plymouth Avenue off, and we'd be in the street.
And that was a spot.
And that was a spot. And you see all the bands. We all would gear up and play out there. And then they moved it in later years to Phyllis Wheatley.
Okay.
And North Commons.
Okay. And was that like a battle of the bands type thing? I mean,
kind of, but not really.
They didn't advertise. We
didn't advertise it that, but we was trying to get at each other.
Yeah. So there was this competition, right? And without that competition, y'all wouldn't be. You wouldn't be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be Jellybean Johnson.
Yeah.
You definitely want to outdo your friends.
What do you think it was about North Minneapolis that was producing that culture?
I don't know, man. I think we got lucky.
Okay.
I really think we got lucky that I moved, because I moved here. My mom moved me from Chicago in 1968 to keep me out of the gangs.
Yep.
And were you a musician then? Were you playing guitar or no?
I wasn't. I hadn't even started guitar yet. I was, finally, starting to experiment with the drums and stuff.
Or drums, yeah.
Uh-huh. And so, from the ages of 11, 12, while she moved me here, she would always buy these drum sets, and I get them Christmas Day. They were made out of paper.
Yeah.
So they were torn up Christmas night, So yeah.
I
so
hit hard,
finally,
Mom.
yeah, exactly. So after we moved here in 1968 and stuff, for Christmas Day, she finally brought me a drum set. I was 13 that I couldn't destroy. It was an actual,
a real deal.
It had heads on it and stuff, and and so I started teaching myself, and so she thought I was serious about it, and so she suggested. Jellybean, Gary. No, I wasn't Jellybean.
Yeah.
But Gary, I see you're serious about it. Why don't we do some lessons?
Yep.
And I'm like, okay. I was reluctant because the only problem with that is, as a kid, and you guys, I don't know if you've experienced that, but as a kid, and you go to school 5 days a week, getting up 7, 8 o'clock to be there. Last thing you want on Saturday morning is a drum lesson at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
And where'd you have to go for it, right?
And over, speaking of that was, the Central over there.
Yep.
Central, it used to be a famous shop over there called B Sharp Music.
Okay.
Years ago. And that's where my lesson.
So you went northeast.
So northeast,
you got to get up.
You got to get up and drive 8 o'clock in the morning. My mom, And we did about 6 months, and I finally
Yeah.
I said, "Ma, first of all, he wasn't teaching me no funk.
Yeah.
I wanted to be James. You hear me, Dustin? I wanted to be Clyde Stubblefield, Jabo Starks. Ohio players. That kind of stuff. And so he wasn't teaching me that. So I talked to my mom. I said, "Mom, he's not." She said, "Okay, baby, I think she's getting tired of having to take me at 8:00 on a Saturday morning too." So that means I only had one day that I could actually sleep in.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because right back Monday you were right back at school 8:00.
So the idea of kind of taking lessons was rough, but coming to Minneapolis, right? Were you like, "Oh, I'm excited to go to Minneapolis," or were you like, "What the heck we doing? I don't want to go."
It was culture shock.
Yeah,
it was actual culture shock. Because remember, I came from Chicago to West Side. Well, it was urban.
Yep.
And I would listen to, I knew I had an infinite love for music because I listened to the radio nonstop.
Yeah.
And it was black radio.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, so you come up here and it's
I come up here.
WLOL.
Check it out. Okay, so I come up here, right? It's 1968, and I'm sitting there. And first of all, the only black station y'all had was KUXL. That was like from 1 to 5 in the afternoon.
Get it.
Yeah, so remember,
you gotta set your clock.
I'm in school.
Yeah.
So I can't really hear it, dude. So I had to rush home just to hear it.
I mean, KMOJ doesn't come on the scene until what?
KMOJ,
10 years later?
That's
10 years, 15 later?
Yeah. So that literally forced me to listen to the white radio stations. And that's when I started loving white music, white rock through Dog Night.
Yeah.
Rare Earth, Black Sabbath, all this kind of stuff,
Yep.
Now, when you're going to the record store, what are you buying though?
But when I go to the record store, I buy my funk. Because I still knew. I still know what was funky.
I mean, and that's kind of, all the musicians of that time, I'm guessing that's the story, right? Because like, hey, we're listening to this on our record players, but when we're driving in our cars, listening on the radio,
it's white music.
This is all I got.
And I guarantee you, and I'm sure a lot of Prince people would jump me about this, but I know that had a profound effect on Prince.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because we had to listen to white rock.
Yeah.
We had to listen to that. White music, Chicago. All those bands like that,
Well, and I'm sure too he thought about that as far as like if I'm going to get on the radio, I need to sound like this.
That's what he said. That's the thing. So that's a good reason. That's the major reason his band was mixed. Because he said, he wanted to be, he knew he had to get pop radio to really,
right.
Sure, no offense about black. We all love our black stuff, but he knew to get big where he wanted to be, like a Purple Rain big.
Yeah.
He had to get the white people.
Cross over.
And that's what 1999 was about.
And Minnesota is kind of just like a perfect breeding ground
It's a perfect
for that
beating.
for that melding of sound.
Perfect, bro.
Because before that, like nobody's on the map, right?
No. Well, I mean,
maybe
you get in a fight about that too.
Yeah. But we ain't Prince
ain't like that.
Yeah.
But you had Bob Dylan here.
Yeah.
You had all the other Dylan. I'm probably leaving out a few other white famous.
But Dylan
people.
just ain't that funky.
Yeah,
He wasn't. That's all along the Watchtower. Yeah.
He'd come up with that more folksy sound.
Folksy stuff. But that's what white people loved here.
Yeah.
They do.
So when you're doing gigs, kind of in your youth, like, are you playing for white audiences, black audiences? How are you gigging at 15, 16, kind of before everything blows up?
We was not accepted in the white clubs, and so that was the problem. But fortunately, you had your legions, and you had black sororities that would do stuff out on the strip out there on 494 at the hotels, the Thunderbird Hotel, and all that kind of stuff. And that kept us, that kept it going. Even sure they wasn't constant. We did one white orientated gig. There was a bar in Minneapolis, and this club owner hired us because we were teenagers and he'd have to pay us that much.
You were cheap.
But and it was called a Flame Bar.
Okay.
And on one side was country, and the other side was black music. And so Flight Time got hired, this is getting close to my junior, senior year in high school. And we got hired 6 nights a week down there to play it.
And you were gigging.
I still had to be at school the next day.
You were gigging 6 nights a week.
6 nights a week. We're like 15, 16 years old. And like I said, one side of it was country, the other side was...
Yeah, but y'all just doing work.
We was just work because we
Right.
just wanted to play.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, the whole thing about the original Flight Time Band, man, we never took money for ourselves. We took all the money we took and bought equipment with it.
Yeah.
You know, we bought our PA, we had a bus, and you know, you could look on the archives, you can see the old famous Flight Time
Yep.
School. We bought at least a couple of those. We painted red and shit. You know, they bought my drum. I had a huge drum set. We bought Terry's bass. We bought guitar amps. Whatever.
So y'all investing in you.
We invested in us, and it was, and which I mean speaks volumes for some kids at 16, 17 years old. Because you want money.
How'd you get that business mindset to say, hey, was it just like, were you thinking about like, hey, this is going to produce something long term, or were you just we just need
we were
better
hoping
gear?
for that.
Okay.
We were hoping to get signed. That was the whole big thing, and that's the reason. And it speaks volume of those people, because we could have easily had people that wouldn't have been like, oh hell no,
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna be out here gigging. I want that money, you know.
Right.
But everybody was cool.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, you know, close to 9, 10, 11 people.
Yeah, and
that
you're-
was cool with that.
And you
know?
got them all organized. You
And
know,
got them, yeah.
It makes me, you know, because I'm thinking about your mom. She buys you this drum set when you're
Yeah.
13, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how is your kind of upbringing informing some of that? Like, in terms of like kind of that
was-
ethic of trying to be.
It was great. It was great because, and you know, like I said, once she saw I was serious about music, you know, and like the guitar, you know, it's a story about me learning how to play guitar. We had a cousin that had fell out with his mom, and she kicked him out the house. You know, Prince knows about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it happens.
And so he came to live with us.
Yeah.
So he lived with us for about a year, and this is during my time. I was just, you know, I was strictly drums then.
Yeah.
But he had a guitar, so he was at the house, and it was just laying around, and he wasn't playing it. So I started playing it,
There
you
you
know.
go.
And I started messing around with it around the ages 14, 15. And then, so eventually his mom told him, oh, you can come back home. So he went back home. He left the guitar.
Oh.
Yeah. So I started to get kind of good at it, you know. And then, of course, with, like I said, the right rock and stuff, I had finally discovered Hendrix,
Yep.
you know, and fell in love with that kind of stuff. And so I started getting good at it. You know, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but
Yeah.
it sounded good
Yeah.
to me, you know. So anyway, so then he realized that he had left his guitar in my house after
shucks.
about a year. So he just came and took it.
Yeah.
So now I'm heartbroken because I don't have a guitar. And my mom said, oh, baby, I got you.
Yeah.
So she went to, you know, these holiday stations, right?
Yeah,
There used
yeah.
to be a holiday superstore.
Yeah, super. I remember the holiday superstore. My dad used to take me there. Yeah.
And my mom went in there, and they had with the gears. They sold guitars in a
Yep.
box. She bought one and a little amp. And
And the rest is
I
history.
kept it going.
Shout out
man.
to mom though, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
giving
it's
you,
my mom.
like, you know,
Mom.
helping you out,
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
and you,
seeing your passion.
Yeah.
and you're doing it. Like,
Yeah,
you're doing
and
the work.
She saw that I was serious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she could hear it. And she had a ruse, you know, I had my own spot downstairs in the basement of 1506 Vincent.
Yeah.
It was, you know, totally dedicated to my room. I had a huge ass drum set down there, my amps and guitars and stuff there. And she had a thing. She worked the post office for 30 years.
Wow.
And she said, Gary, when it gets to be about 9 or 10 o'clock, you got to stop.
Yeah, 'cause
stop with the noise.
because
you know?
I gotta go
'Cause
to
I gotta go to
work.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what the deal was. I could play, you know, when most kids are out front, you know, when they get home from school, they out front playing football and
Yeah.
all that crap, basketball and stuff. I've been doing that. I was shedding.
You're in the basement?
I'm in the basement.
Yeah.
In the lab, as we call it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But I think it's important though, right? Because people just want to, like, you know, they want it all to come easy,
And
or
it's not.
you know, and what your
Yeah.
testimony
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
hey, like I
You gotta
did
work
this
at it.
thing,
Yeah, you gotta work at it.
day in and day out, and then you had a social network
Yeah,
that was
that's
also
like-minded.
yeah,
It
and
was
that was
like-minded.
reinforcing it, right?
Yeah,
Because you
that
didn't
helped.
want to show up and not.
Yeah. I was lucky to grow up with the kids I grew up with, because they were all music orientated and they were into the same passion that I was.
Yeah.
And the other thing it did, it kept me out of trouble. Man,
Yeah.
because I was an easy candidate
Yeah.
to get into some
trouble.
Because my brother, he did it all for me.
He took that.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But he struggled, man.
Yeah.
I went to jail 3 times behind him.
Oh, wow.
So that's the thing. He had a whole history of drug abuse and all that stuff. So he was the total opposite.
Yeah.
So my mom had 2 different sons.
Yeah, you know, and
So she knew she had me, and then she had him.
yeah,
You know?
and you know, I mean, that's the way families
That's how
work,
it is.
right?
Yeah,
you know,
that's how it is. Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
blessing is, I mean, that you did that work, and
Yeah.
then you take that, and you know, you kind of you're part of the scene that's also
Yeah. And
bubbling
see-
up at the same
yeah,
time,
and so
right?
you don't know it. See, when we're in the
Yeah.
middle, we didn't know it was, it was like that. You
Do you
know,
think-
we didn't know.
Do you think? I mean, and this would be a good question for Spike. I don't know if he's going to be at this deal
yeah.
on the 7th, You know, I
absolutely.
mean, I'd be curious.
Spike played a big part in our upbringing.
Yeah,
man,
tell
when
us
our music was-
who is Spike Moss?
Spike
What's the
Moss
story
used
there?
to run The Way. The Way was a community center on the north side that was down there right on the other side of Plymouth over there. I think it was about a block away from Oliver or whatever.
Yep,
It sat there. That's where the old north side police station is now.
Yeah, where
it
U-Rock
was.
is.
Yeah, where U-Rock is. And that's where we would all go to hang out, man.
It was like an after school thing?
It was like an after school thing. It was community center, and he was doing the same thing to keep us off the street. And,
Yeah.
you know, and they had a band called The Family. That's where Prince got that from. And they were badass. You know, they were scary. Everybody wanted to be like them. You know, that's where Sonny T came from. I saw Sonny T at 12, 13 years old, man, just abuse the Stratocaster. I had never seen somebody play like that. It's just like with Prince.
Yeah.
Same. I saw him at 12, 13 with guitars. I'm like, how in the hell are they doing that? And so that's the thing. That's why I was privy to see that kind of stuff. And you know, Prince always said that Sonny was a big influence on him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the Way was a big community center, and we had all these musicians. One of the guys I'm probably jam with later on tonight, his name's Pierre Lewis. He was in the Commodores for the last 13 years.
Nice.
He just left there, but yeah. And he was 13 like a keyboard whiz.
Yeah.
At 13. You know, he could just jam on the B3 and just scary, just all these great musicians. So I think I got lucky moving here from Chicago to be around that kind of
you got
that
put
kinda
into
culture,
a whole space. Do you remember the first time you meet these guys? Like, do you remember, like, I remember the first time I meet Prince or Morris Day, or is it all just kind of cloudy?
It's just all kind of cloudy, you
Yeah.
know. I get asked that a lot, you know, and I try to remember. I don't know. We just, like I said, we all had the same interests, and we just, you know, it
was just there.
It was just there, and we just, you know, we would end up at the same places. We'd see them play or see each other play, and we even, and you know, it was competitive because even if we like it, we couldn't act like we did. Couldn't act like we like what you're doing.
You happy for him, but
You're happy for him, but I think I can do that too, you know.
So when Prince gets his record deal,
that was something.
you're just outside of high school at that point,
Yeah,
and you guys
yeah.
have been playing kind of the
Yeah,
same
we just
scene,
out.
and all of a sudden somebody elevates above.
Yeah, he just all of a sudden we looked up, and you know, all the things we were trying to do, he had made, you know.
Yeah.
And I never forget, I went and see that first concert of his, man, at the Capri. It was just surreal, you know, because just a few years prior, I just been, you know, we just
You've
been
been
right,
just been hanging out.
exactly, you know?
And you've been watching
I've
movies in that theater.
you know, and here he is. You know, he's a major. You know, and I say definitely he's a major star because even though it's 1978, he's on the radio.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're trying to do.
Are you walking into that Capri Theater thinking like, all right, let me go see what this kid's got? Or are you like walking in like,
Do you know?
I'm excited to see.
I'm excited to see him, but then I want to see what he got too, because this was going to be totally different than Grand Central. I
Yeah.
knew that already.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I seen him, you know, he had the leopard print. You know,
Yeah. He was doing it.
you know, and I'm like, and it was loud, like I like it.
Yeah.
you
Had
know.
he changed at that point? Like, were you like, hey, this dude's at a different...
He was different, yeah. He was different than what we grew up with, yeah.
What happened? What was the shift in him that you saw?
Just the maturity in the music,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the thing. I didn't know, and this is the thing, you know, when he's in Grand Central, I didn't hear these grooves.
Yeah.
You know, because they were playing covers and stuff just like
Right.
us. You know, I wasn't hearing, you know, when his first album is phenomenal, man. But I didn't know he had it like that.
Yeah, because he was kind of laying
He was
in the cut.
laying in the cut.
Laying
he
in
was,
the
he
cut,
was on
yeah.
the back, you know.
So
And
people knew he was good, but they weren't...
A prime example, I never forget David Island, you know, who's a career legendary musician around here and stuff. He went to one of their practices one time.
Yeah.
And he came back, he said, Bean, Grand Central's funkier than us. And I'm like, oh, no, they ain't. No. He said, Bean, I know what I just listened to, you know. I said, oh, okay. So, you know, so he knew, but, you know, like I said, they were still playing everything we were playing, you
Right.
know, the Grand Central stations and all that kind of, and then they would try to play the horn songs, and it was, you know.
You're like, we got him. We got the
We
horn.
got
You
the
ain't
horns, yeah, and that's what they admired about us, you know.
Did Prince ever try and take your horn players?
Yes, David Island was one of the first cats he asked to be in his band. He wouldn't be in it.
Really?
Him and Ricky Peterson were, I know for a fact, were one of the first two people he asked to be in his initial band, and neither one of them.
Huh.
No.
Kind of changed the sound.
Yeah. Neither one went with him. Yeah, so yeah.
You know?
They had their reasons, you know. Both of them are phenomenal. You know, Ricky's a bona fide rock star. You
Yeah.
know, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody, you know, he plays with everybody. But and Ricky, I remember seeing Ricky. You know, when he was 18, man, he was singing. There's a reason that St. Paul and all man.
Yeah, it's in the
Ricky was
in the
scary,
genes, right?
dude.
Yeah.
He was scary and singing like a bird. Too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
Crazy.
Prince arrives. You see him at the Capri. You're like, all right,
Okay,
we on a new level.
We on a different level now.
Now, do you start to do the calculus in your head? What's that going to mean for me? I got to be practicing more, or did you know?
I just kept my course because by this point you got to realize we're still flight time. We figured that just gave us more impetus.
Yeah.
That
somebody could get out of here.
Could get out of here. So we start doing
we can
demos.
make it too.
We can make it too. And then Cynthia gets, then Steven Greenberg takes her. And so now we're really, like, damn, So we kept going, and then Sue-Ann was from here too. Then Sue-Ann got a record deal at 18.
Oh, wow.
So that just really
Minneapolis is getting hot.
So yeah, we're seeing as black musicians, we got a chance.
Yeah.
We just got to do the right things. So we just kept at it, man, until like 1980, 81, and then that's when life changed. With the time and all.
The first time album, and
Yeah.
originally Morris is going to drum.
Yeah, originally they had the Faithful Meeting. I wasn't that. I was heartbroken, because Morris was going to be drunk. He didn't want to be the singer.
Yeah,
he wanted Alexander O'Neill wanted to be the singer, and I had just spent a year at the Flight Time band had evolved. With all with people making it, people leave. Like Cynthia left, we got Sue-Ann Carwell.
Yep.
Sue-Ann Carwell leaves, then we get Alexander O'Neill. So then
so making it happen.
Flight Time band is bad as hell, but people gonna be there long,
And then Prince comes. Hey, we're gonna have a meeting,
and
we're gonna
have a meeting, and he had Warner Brothers had agreed to give him money to do a new band, and so Morris was going, to do that. So that was probably, and me and Morris had grew up homies, playing in his mom's living room and shit when we were like 12, 13, playing the drums. We're both lefty drummers,
and he's Northside too.
And he was on Northside too.
Yeah.
He was right across the street from North Commons.
Okay,
that's what that's what a YMCA now. His house was right there.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, that just changed the whole thing. So they have the Faithful Meeting. I'm sure y'all have heard about that. And, and Alex needed paper.
Yeah, he wasn't willing to invest at that time.
Now you got to realize, Alex had came here and made a name for himself in a short time too, because he's from Mississippi.
Okay.
And he came here and joined some of the bad bands. We had a bunch of badass local bands here. We had the Mystics. We had Free and Easy. We had a bunch of local white bands who, he was the perfect lead singer for, and they had hired him.
And he came in and did
so
his
he came
thing,
in
and he was doing well.
And he was doing well. So he already had a bit of an ego.
Yeah.
But Prince wasn't having that.
Yeah, because it was his
show,
world.
Right?
Yeah,
it's his world.
It was Prince's show. So Alexander O'Neill.
So they go to the meeting and they say, Alex makes this big thing about he needs money, he needs house, he needs swimming pool, all that stuff. And they said Prince immediately shut the meeting down. And the meeting was over, so they went, and so he told Morris, he said, you go back, you get Jellybean, and say, you're going to sing. And Morris was like, what do you mean I'm going to sing? He said, you're going to sing. He said, I don't know what to do. He said, no, I'll teach you what to do, and that's what, him and Morris and Prince were already tight. They were hanging, they were
already
at
doing
his house and stuff. Yeah. Prince had a recording studio in his house and stuff. So they were together anyway. So
here we go.
Yeah. That's how it started.
So let's talk about that house. Cause was this when he was living in 50th in France?
It could, man. This dude had so many houses that I found out after the fact, dude.
Yeah, because I was always like, there's a house in 50th in France that he lived on, like in 1980, and I just keep thinking to myself, like these North Side dudes rolling in, into kind of like pretty much Edina.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That was taboo.
Yeah. I was always curious what that was all about.
That's
right?
taboo, bro. Yeah.
Because Minneapolis, it's got its lines, right? And folks kind of, it was a segregated and probably still is very much a segregated city as far as where people go, and
you know what the deal is. And stuff, so, but he had so many, man. So many different places that he had some I knew about, some I didn't. And that's some I had been to, some
not.
Yeah,
but always got a recording studio.
But that was the thing.
Close.
That was part of it. Yeah. He always kept us aboard and stuff, and a drum set up, and that's how virtually the first two Time records was made. Him and Morris
just jamming,
just two of them jamming. Yeah, just drums and bass, and starts off like that. And more it kills me. He tells that story today. We were just on the '80s cruise here, and he was telling it to this whole packed auditorium. He's asking about it. He said, I come in and we jam, and I play the drums and stuff. And I look up, and say I'd go take a nap or something, because this dude never sleeps. He said I'd wake up and a whole song is done.
Just done.
Yeah.
He's got me out there.
Whole thing done. And that's how he operated, man.
Yeah,
I found that out years later, when dealing with him. But that's how it was. He would just take. I remember when we were doing the family, man, I was sitting right next to him. He was playing high fashion. And I was like, damn, how you doing that? He was just wearing the guitar out. And I'm just sitting there stealing. He don't know. I'm just stealing, watching. I say, how in the hell is this? Oh, my God. Yeah. Just nasty. Just naturally funky.
Yeah.
Naturally funky. It's running through his
It's
DNA.
His output was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and he never slept. That's the thing. He lived and breathed music. And sometimes that would, that would cause problems with his circle because
everybody else needs sleep.
Yeah,
we all just mere mortals.
I think Dustin probably knows this story. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're on the road, is it like that too? Like, are you just like, hey guys, we got to go. We got the next thing to do.
Even the tours with the time, it was always after party afterwards.
Yep.
Stuff. And you'd be up, you'd be up to like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you got to get to the next city or whatever. And that's how it was. You knew that, and it'd be a problem if you didn't show up.
Yeah. Now, when you get off those tours, are you like on like a 4-day nap, or is it like
it's a recovery period, Bob? It's definitely a recovery period. There's no care. But that's how he was.
So the time starts, right? You're in at drums. Alexander O'Neal's out.
He's
Morris
out.
Day's the front man.
Yeah.
Now, y'all start rehearsing day one? Like, hey, they got an album ready, or you?
They have the album ready, but we took a good 6 months.
Okay. So you're working
we're
here.
Working. We're on Lake Street, man. Lake and Fourth, man. A place called Yasm's.
Okay. Tell us about that.
7 days a week, bro.
7 days a week. So you just like you've been grinding in your mom. You've been grinding in your mom's basement. You're like, when's this work gonna end? And now you get a gig with Prince, and you're just
dude.
Even more grind.
He was a grinder, dude, and he would be there most days. He would come and check, make sure that we wasn't fucking around.
Yeah. So when you're grinding, like what's that day like? Like because you guys got 6 songs on the first record.
You got 6 songs on the first record, but you would just we got it down to art, man. We get there like a little bit before noon, and the first 2 hours, you're gonna mess around, everybody make it going. And then we'd run the set a couple times. He'd come and watch us and sit, and then we decide what's working, what's not working.
So you're analyzing as well. So
you're analyzing what's going on, and then we take a little break and laugh because the time is full of crazy people, and then Prince too. So you get all that practical joke shit going for about a couple hours. Then we go. Then you do another set. You run through it again, and this went on, man, for 6 months.
Now, what does that practice do for you? Like, I mean,
you get tight.
You can't help it.
Get tight, dude. That's right. That's
why we were. It's like breathing, right?
Yeah, it was like breathing, and that's why he said we were like Frankenstein to him.
Yeah.
And this is why the first tour, when we were out and stuff, we used to wear his ass out because that's the only thing we.
That's what you had.
Yeah, so we had because we rehearsed.
Y'all weren't getting paid.
We wasn't getting paid. We were $150 a week. $150 a week,
and
working hours, like 8, 9, 10 hours. It depends on what us. Sure, we were hanging, and sure, things are a lot cheaper than they are now. But
it's still working.
You still had a car. You still had to get gas, all that kind of stuff. You had to eat.
Yeah, I talked about this on our interview with Scotty Baldwin, where Jimmy Jam was talking about Prince and kind of the whole rehearsal motif and that whole deal, and his line was. That Prince would give him bigger than the record, Jimmy, bigger than the record.
Yeah.
Like, how did that play in? Like, because that was essentially like, he wants to do all the.
It startled me, bro. But that show you that the vision that he saw. He said, Jimmy, he told all of us, it's got to be better than the record. So, Jimmy and Monty had to be dancing at the keyboards and singing and posing. It was a whole culture to this, And, the guys up front were dancing. The 3 guys up front are dancing, So there were steps involved and singing. Everybody's singing. He wanted the vocals to sound like Temptations.
Yep.
The singing groups. And he wanted the music to be tight and that pocket right. And this is how it was. And, you get the records and you hear the different things and say, like a prime example, Jimmy Jam tells a story about 777-9311. Now, first, let me tell you the story about the drum beat.
Yeah, because that drum beat's crazy.
It was absolutely bonkers. And so we're rehearsing to go out on the 1999 tour, and Prince had rented out the convention center downtown or the Armory or whatever.
Yeah.
And set up the whole stage show. And, and that was another 8-hour a day job because, we had to come and, do that too. Yeah. So he told me and Morris, you meet me down at the Armory at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, at least before noon.
Yeah.
And the three of us sat down behind my drum set, and we said, we got to figure out how Bean's going to play this in concert, and had these guys dancing and stuff like that. So he sat down first, and he played what he thought I should play. And then Morris sat down. Morris is already automatic lefty like me, and then he played his version of it. And so then I sat down, and so we sat there, and then the three of us mutually, after about, a couple hours before the two bands got there, we decided I had finally was playing good enough where these guys, so then now it's to rehearse it. And, Jimmy tells a story about he used to ride Jimmy. I'll give Jimmy that. Jimmy has his issues too, but there was definitely that competition.
They're pushing each other.
They're both two geniuses, and
right.
and they knew it. So it was
button heads a little bit.
They butt heads big time, man. And I used to think that Prince was picking on him, but in hindsight, I know he wasn't now.
Right.
Yeah, but that's greatness,
Yeah,
right? That's like we're gonna gonna push this to the edge.
So Jimmy was talking about on 777. He said he was just playing the part and he wasn't singing.
Yeah.
He said, Jimmy Jam, why are you not singing? He said, Prince, it's only 3-part harmony. Well, it has to be bigger than the record.
Oh, man.
So you can find the part, sing the part. Okay, so then we run it again, right? So we sing it again, right? So then all of a sudden, Jimmy Jam, you and Money are not dancing. You see that step, those guys, the three guys up there, Jesse, Terry, and Morse? You can do that at the keyboards and play. He said, really, Prince? Yeah. He said, yes, you can. See, he would make you do things
Right, take it to the next level.
that you couldn't think you could do.
Yeah.
You could do it. All you had to do is put in the work and stuff. But you didn't know it.
What do you think it was about Prince that made him push like that? What was driving him?
could have been,
and how did he know that there was that next level?
I don't know for a fact, but it could have been his upbringing.
Yeah.
I know he had a contentious relationship with his mom and dad.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And just your upbringing, man. I think that played a big deal in that, and the way, he came up. But then at the same time, his dad, the Jimmy Jams has the same thing. His dad's cornbread, and they both had this trait from their dad.
Yeah.
Even though there's very contentious relationship. Let me say this. We all had effed up dads.
Yeah. But there's roots there in terms of the
the roots are
music
there.
and
they took it.
Yeah.
It had been put into them. It was in their blood.
Yeah.
And they both inherit that. I mean, Jimmy Jam got he's Jimmy Jam across the cornbread.
Yeah.
I tell people that already, and we have our differences about that, but I'm just saying, he's Jimmy Jam across the cornbread.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. So,
Yeah,
and Jimmy and Prince, a lot of things, John L. Nelson.
Yeah. Because but there's they're growing up in that environment. There's a certain excellence. There's a certain competitive flair.
Yeah.
And then they're bringing that to the scene as well. And they probably have a sense. I'm just talking now as I think about it. There's probably a sense too. Like if we're going to do this, we got to do this.
We gotta
right?
do it.
We got to do this because
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in the business a long time.
40 years.
Yeah, 40 years.
Now. Yeah.
I mean, they ain't just writing checks to anybody.
No,
and especially not back in 1981, 82.
And not black, and not if you were black either. That's the other thing. It was.
Tell me about that. Tell me what was kind of the scene and how were black artists kind of being held back in terms of...
It was being held back here because, like I said, we couldn't play the clubs, even though we were better than a lot of the bands that were playing them already. But it was that whole thing where we still look at how divided the country is today.
Yeah.
Similar
storylines.
Yeah, it's a similar sort of storylines, man. So,
So what happens with First Ave? Because y'all come into there.
We couldn't play First Ave.
Until when?
The only one of us that I know of that played First Ave back in the early days was Jimmy Jam had a singing group called Mind and Matter.
Okay.
And there's footage of them playing. It's got to be 80, 70, 80, before he got in the time.
Yep.
And they were one of the few
that played
at first. And I think it might have been Uncle Sam's then or something different, Depot or something.
So how does Prince get the gig? Because he just became Prince and had this album out, and they're like, hey, and they just kind of like...
they fell in the... Well, first of all, I can't say for sure. The guy that owned First Avenue, or one of the guys, his name was Byron Frank. He was our accountant back then.
Okay.
And I think I'm not sure if he was accountant for Prince too, but he was one. His daughter runs it now.
Okay.
Dana Frank.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was part of it. He seen that we were exceptionally talented, but
yeah.
Was it because Prince was hitting that crossover?
I think he was.
You know,
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think
And all of a
that's part
sudden,
of
it's
it.
like you can't ignore this.
Well, let me tell you a little short story about that. We always, when Prince was doing his band, I was teasing Morris. I said, dude, how come you're not his drummer? And Morris was like, dude, I don't understand it. He said, Morris, I got a drummer.
Yeah.
And his drummer was Bobby Z.
Yep.
So that shows you right there. He had in his mind
A vision.
a vision that his band had that,
Do you
even his
think-
keyboard player with Dr. Fink, same thing.
Yeah.
Do you think he's in his mind as he's kind of working that time frame? Is he projecting forth his alter ego? Because I mean, I hear stories
It
of him.
could- it
I
could've
hear
been.
stories of him writing Purple Rain like way early
It
on,
could've-
right? Like
well,
I know I'm gonna call up on this crew here.
Yeah.
And
It-
like
it
when,
wa-
we,
it was
when
ske-
we when we hit the next gear,
It was scary,
I got
dude.
these guys laying.
He
in the
said
cut.
to us that we're going to do movies, we're going to be big. He said that to us.
How old was he when he tells you you're going to do movies and you're going to be big?
Well, we had to be in our early 20s.
oh wow.
We're in our early 20s when he's saying this. And we're thinking, dude, we're just trying to be out here and be
Yeah, we
funky.
just-
Yeah.
You already paying us $150, then come
Yeah.
on. We're trying to get to that I want to drive a nice car like you.
Was he kind of one of those guys like he's just like I'm just gonna keep repeating it until y'all believe it too, or
Yeah.
is he
it was gospel.
is he
It was
convinced is he
gospel.
convincing himself
And
while
that
he's saying
went-
it?
And dude, that went not only to the black musicians, that went toward the white musicians too. You ask Bobby and Matt and Lisa, all of them, it was a culture, bro. Gail Chapman back in the day. Yeah. He preached that. His crew, most of his crew was white anyway.
Yeah.
So they had to deal with him too. He wasn't
Yeah.
easy to deal with.
Yeah, I mean he's pushy.
He's
right?
with Dustin, I ain't got Dustin.
Dustin knows.
He
Dustin, you
knows.
got
I
any
ain't got
Prince
no doubt.
stories where you're just like,
Yeah.
this dude pushed it over the top,
dude. That's how it was. I had this little saying as we got older and stuff, and I wasn't working for him. No, I say everybody gets a turn.
Yeah.
Everybody got a Prince story
Yeah.
that is not too
Right.
pleasant. That's just how it goes.
Does it have an expiration date on it then?
Well, at first you thought, my expiration days when I stopped working for him.
Yeah.
And started working for Flight Time. But back then I just wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, there's no reason for you to be like that. But,
Was there an off switch? Like, did you see the off switch
He
sometimes?
can be nice as hell, yes. It
Yeah.
just depends. Prime example, and I don't want to put Morris Hayes out there like that, but Morris Hayes told me that because, he is really close. Him and Kurt was the two closest to him
Yeah.
back in there. And Morris Hayes said, I learned, and Morris was there 20, 25 years ago. He said, I learned that you have to figure out what Prince you're dealing with that day.
Yeah. What mood?
What
He's a
mood?
Gemini.
He's
Yeah.
a Gemini. Jimmy Jam, Gemini. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a baby mom that's Gemini.
Yeah.
I think about it. I hated her too. Yeah. So yeah.
Half of her.
Yeah, half her, yeah. Only the good thing is my daughter from there. Yeah. But anyway, let me stop. I'm gonna get in trouble on here. But yeah, I'm glad you said that,
Yeah.
Dustin. That was
Yeah.
part of it. Yeah, that's a
for
big
sure.
part.
I'm a Gemini too, so
Jesse Johnson, another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Difficult as hell. Hendrix, but difficult is hard to deal with.
When did Jesse come in the scene? Because he's coming up from
Jesse
Iowa,
came
right?
up from Rock Island and stuff, and he had joined a local band here called Enterprise.
Okay.
That Morris in, and we seen him, and we knew he was different, dude.
Yeah.
Because he was funky, but he had all that Southern rock. You know why? Because he had played like all them bands, Molly Hatchet, and all them Southern rock bands. Even dude being a black guitar player with long hair, back in the Quad Cities in
But
Illinois.
game recognized game, right?
Game recognized game. So he, of course, he heard about the scene here, so he moved his butt here and joined that band and stuff. And so when Morris told him to join Flight Time.
Okay.
Because Prince, because him and Prince have been talking about doing
Yeah.
a band. So yeah. So that's how he got in this.
So Prince talking about doing movies, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, we're gonna shoot this movie here." Like was that was there like a memo
I
or
didn't
something?
believe it, man. Well, see.
I told you we're gonna do a movie. It starts tomorrow.
And that's pretty much how it was. And the sad thing, you got to realize the time was going through drama because he fired Terry Jimmy.
Yeah, right at that time.
Right at it when we was
Yep.
getting ready to do it, So of course me and Monty was like, "Hey, dude, we're out of here." Me and Monty quit too, because it was like, "How can you do that? Because we just spent 2 years helping you get this together, and now you're breaking our band up,
Right.
And so. But anyway, I changed course and stuff. Them guys went on, and plus Terry and Jimmy had been
doing stuff already.
already.
Yeah.
So they easily had something to go to. And me, I just wanted to, part the course a little bit longer and see what the hell was going on. So them and Monty quit. They left. And so
then Paul comes
and then
in.
Paul, that's when we got Paul. Paul, 18 years old, dude. 17,
Yeah.
18 years old, and got him. I went behind here. Jesse Johnson abused him, man. Oh, my God.
What did that look like?
Oh, it was ugly. Because now that you got to realize,
We'll have to remember to ask him about that.
Yeah,
We'll get him on here.
Yeah. It was ugly, bro. And so you got to realize that, Morris was kind of checking out because now Morris is knowing that Prince, he has no control over his band.
Right.
So that all Morris's demons.
He's like, this isn't my band.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But at the same time, you're about to hit next level.
A big next level. That's the thing. And so I never forget my first, he put us. This one I knew we were doing a movie. He put us through dancing class lessons and all that shit. And I never forget, Lisa and Wendy was doing an interview and they was talking about, it was so funny seeing Jellybean pirouette across the floor and dance in the class and shit. That happened, and it's just, this is when you knew you were doing a movie.
You want to know the blessing, though, is there were no cell phones.
No, dude. I can't even imagine that. Oh, my God. If he had did that now, man, that'd been crazy. It'd been some trouble.
Now I can just ask AI, can I get a video of Jellybean pirouetting across? Computer will just give it to me.
Just make it happen.
I was laughing when I read that. I read the interview. I was like, yo, y'all dog me out like that. But it happened.
When you're filming, are you aware of the magnitude of what's about to go down? Like, do you have a sense of
I still hadn't quite grasped it, even though first and calls those days were like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, dude.
Yeah.
And this is back. I don't know if you guys remember. The winters were really brutal. Like winters like this one.
Yeah, just cold.
I went to the set a few times. A snowstorm, and I never forget a prime example with the time and stuff. Man, we got there the first day of shooting. Man, I'll never forget. I had to be there at 5 o'clock a.m. for makeup and all that stuff. We're going to do something. And our bass player at the time, God bless him too, his name is Rocky Harris, he didn't show up. So we're sitting there and in the van and stuff, it's about 8 o'clock and he still hasn't shown up, dude. And I'm like, oh my God.
He's going to be in trouble.
And Prince is sitting there in the van with us.
Oh.
So that's uncomfortable, bro. We're sitting there all made up.
Prince is like, we've gotten all this way. You haven't.
Yeah. And Morris is sitting up in the front. He said, Morris? He said, where's Rocky? And Morris said, bro, I don't. He said, I don't know. He's feeling bad. What can he say? He said, well, what would you do? When Rocky, what would you do if it was my band? He said, yeah, I would fire. He said, well, yeah. So Rocky shows up and he's immediately asked to leave. So then they have to call Jerry Hubbard. They already had somebody in there. Yeah. That's how Jerry Hubbard ends up in the time, because he was on call in the first place,
Because you never know.
You never know. And
Rocky's kicking himself for the rest of his life. That one alarm
and he
missed.
went on. I mean, Rocky was a world-class musician, God bless him, but drugs always, was the problem for him. I mean, he played with Alexander. He played Alex in his band. Paul Abdul. And he's great at the drums and bass. Mm-hmm. He played both things, but he just missed his call on that, man. And it was sad,
So when do you realize, you're doing the deal, you got makeup, you go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
All the stuff gets cut. Do you watch the first reels of this Purple Rain movie and you're like when do you get to see the movie and be like, what the heck did we just do here?
I didn't see it until I was at the premiere.
Okay.
In LA.
Yeah. So you're part of that whole, I was just watching that on, Pee Wee Herman was there.
It was crazy, dude.
Mellencamp.
It was crazy.
Superman.
It was crazy,
I shit you
dude.
not. Christopher Reeves was there. Eddie Murphy.
Man, it was crazy, dude. And you got to realize, we did the soundtrack for Purple Rain for the time, we did one gig.
Yeah.
And Prince used that music.
Okay.
For Jungle Love and for The Bird.
That was one shot.
One time. Well, we may have done one or two chops.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. We wasn't getting a bunch of takes.
Yeah, you weren't there doing that for a week.
Yeah,
that was...
Yeah, and he took that music and, he would go in the studio and...
Make it happen.
Make it happen, and that's what he did. And so that's the thing. I'll never forget the underlying story people don't know about that is we did the time, that version of the time did one gig, because, by this time, Terry, Jim, and Morris are gone.
Yeah.
So that's with Paul and Mark Cardenas and all that stuff, Jerry Hubbard and stuff. So we do the gig. Morris goes out the back door of First Avenue. That's back when the back door back there. Yeah. I didn't see him again until we did Fishnet.
What?
For Flight Time. at Flight Time. Remember the song on his solo record?
Yeah.
That's next time I see him. He put out Oak Tree and all that shit. I didn't see him. Even at the premiere, that's footage of him with Eddie Murphy and all that. I was with the Prince camp. He wasn't talking to Prince. Remember, so he was avoiding Prince. Yeah,
he came in because he was his whole. I gotta go rewatch that deal because you can feel a little tension.
There's a lot of tension. It was a lot, but you
can feel it though. You can feel it though. Like when you watch it, I check it out on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
So you don't see him for a minute.
I don't see him for like 5 years, bro.
Wow.
Yeah,
and y'all been hanging out every day.
We have been hanging out every day this for a few years.
Wow.
Think about it, from the original band through. You know, but I have to admit, this is why Jesse Johnson kind of took over too, because Morris started checking out once Prince did that stuff with Terry and Jimmy and his band and put all the new cats.
The dynamic any day.
So that's that stuff. If you see our Tales of the tour bus, that's they used to have to send people to find Morris.
Okay.
This is
young cats too,
yeah,
right?
We're young cats.
Young cats, musicians, a lot of energy.
Dude, he came on the set, man. They found him, so they got him, and I had to break him apart. That's in that. That's in there too. I Jesse Johnson mad at me to this day. He said, "Should have let him." Should let more. I was like, no. I said,
you can't do that though.
No, because the time wouldn't have been in Purple Rain.
Yeah,
right.
You can't.
If it would have been a bunch of actors doing it, it wouldn't have been us.
Yeah. I mean, you did the right thing there.
Yeah.
So then the time kind of fizzles for a minute, and then the family.
Oh, that's another. Oh man.
So it's Paul.
You're opening wounds now.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're opening up wounds.
I didn't mean to open up no wounds.
Oh,
I mean, I like the family cool. Music, man. Like that's some good stuff y'all were doing.
The family, man, and the prime example. It was the similarities with the time in the family is once again, the family band rehearsed for 9 months and played one show. It was the same thing. This by now, he's got money now, so now we're rehearsing out Flying Cloud.
Yeah, and you're doing it.
Yeah, we're out there. We rehearsing everything. We're rehearsing every day, 5-6 days a week. Getting tight. He's engaged to Susanna, which was another
whole deal.
Whole nother deal. And so we're getting tight and everything, but the only problem is we wasn't under contract paper-wise.
Yeah.
And this is why, we had a top 5 single with Screams of Passion, but we're not under contract. And at the same time, he's grooming Paul to be the next Morris.
Yeah.
The white Morris, the David Bowie, the kind of thing. But the only problem with that, he didn't have Paul under contract.
Yeah. And Paul wanted to do his thing, right?
Paul comes from a musical legendary family, and there's like, dude, and so that's the thing. And so I never forget, man, it was a tough time for me, man, because Paul's 18 years old. He gets a recording contract from MCA or whatever, $250,000.
Jeez.
You're 18 years old. Who's not going to take that?
In the mid 80s.
In the mid 80s,
it's way more than 150 a week.
Yeah. I mean, that's big cash.
So of course I never forget this. Oh my God, I probably shouldn't be saying all this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm 66 years old. So anyway, Paul. Remember now, Jerome was turned into his sidekick.
Yeah,
he's Prince's sidekick now. He's in there
because he's moving into Parade. And
Parade and
deal.
all that shit is out there now on the Cherry Moon and all that. So they're out. So Prince calls me from France.
What time is it?
He calls me from France. He said, "Bean." I said, "Yeah, what's up, bro?" I said, he said, "I want you to join the Revolution." And so you play drums Revolution. And I said, okay, now this is the demon that hits me sometime. I should have said yes, but then I shouldn't have said yes. But I said, this is what I said. I said, cool, Prince, but I said, what are we gonna do about the family? He hung the phone up.
And that was it.
Hung the phone up, and my salary was cut in half that week. And I just bought my house. My house here on Prickland Park.
Yeah.
So
is that just ego at that point?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything.
And he's riding
it's
a
little
wave
bit
up.
of everything. He's mad because remember he blamed me too that he thought I could talk Paul into Sting.
Yeah.
But
you're just a guy.
And I'm just, I was around Paul. Paul loved me and everything, but Paul didn't love me $250,000 worth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but y'all are just kids too, right?
We're young, and Paul is really young because Paul is basically still a teenager. You know? And so that's what happened with that, man.
And
so
then you bolt to Flight Time.
And so I started working. Yeah, once he cut my salary, because I knew the next step was going to be Yeah,
gone.
so Flight Time, Terry and Jimmy hired me as a staff producer, and then, it was still making, I've been all these big time, making no money really, but,
So,
I had to
when is
prove
it my
myself at
turn?
that.
what is a staff producer? What does that mean? Because I know you end up producing some.
I
cool
ended up producing
stuff, but before
I had to come up with songs.
Yep.
I got lucky on my first one because it was Nona Hendrix, Why Should I Cry?
Okay.
And I just got lucky, they knew I had that in me, but, because that's how they started. They used to write all their songs on Lil Casio, So I started doing the same thing, man, just coming up with grooves and stuff. And then they got Alex. So I started playing, doing things with Alex, helping Monty. Monty had done the same thing. Monty had joined them too. So I was helping Monty and playing drum tracks and
you're
guitar
on
stuff.
43rd and
43rd Nicollet in that building there. A lot of hits in there, man. And we were doing that and just start, just coming up with different things, man. And then Janet's first record, Control, right there.
Yeah.
Did that. I played guitar solos on that.
Right on the wall. We're in the Bean Cave, by the way.
Here we are in the Bean
And
Cave.
this is amazing. There's gold records.
Yeah, I walked
guitars.
in. I walked in. I mean, you can tell you breathe music, man. Right?
I
like
do, man.
that is who you are.
That's the reason I have to be here by myself, man. Family members don't get it sometimes.
Yeah.
So I
but
need that
it's
space.
like in the DNA. It's like this is who you are.
That's who I am.
That's why he still goes, tonight he's going to go jam. That's why he's hanging out at
Yeah.
bunkers. This is what you do, right?
It's funny. It's funny too, just because my family asks me that all the time. I've had various fiancés, everything. Like, why do you have to be out every night? Why don't you just? And sometimes I do stay home, but I get antsy. And I just, it's kind of, I hate to admit that, but it is. So it's much easier when
It's
you,
just
when you're your
that's
own
your life.
boss. Yeah.
And
So-
I mean, and the music hits you, right? It's like kind of
Well, it
like
always has.
it's kind of like
Always has.
You can't just be like, oh, let me just turn that off.
Yeah. Well, it's the prime example. That's, going back to my childhood when it's about drum lessons and stuff, I was learning more by laying down at the stereo at my mom's house and listening to David Garibaldi and Ohio Players, Sly's drummer, Sly and the Family Stone, all that. And I would go downstairs and mimic those beats.
Yeah. Now, you're deconstructing what they're doing and you're
I'm
figuring it out.
deconstructing and I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
Whereas that teacher I had, first of all, he wasn't funky.
Yeah.
So there's no way he was going to show me how to do that. Now, technically, all the rudiments and all that, he was going to help me with that. I probably would have had, but
So
I was getting that anyway.
Yeah, so you got maybe a little bit extra bass, but
Yeah,
really
yeah,
you
yeah.
weren't gonna be
Yeah.
you weren't gonna be Jellybean.
I wasn't
on
going to be
that day.
Jellybean if I stayed at that. I was not.
Did you ever go get lessons again?
No, that was
Just
it.
never again.
Never again.
And
I
never a
never
guitar
went in.
lesson either.
Not a guitar lesson. or
Your
nothing.
lesson is
Total.
just front row seats
So,
to various
the stereo in the lab is
Yeah.
just the nose listening.
What,
and have big ears.
When did you? How long have you been Jellybean?
I've been
Or
Jellybean.
how'd you get that name?
Yeah.
I got that name, man, and I kind of pissed David Island off about that because everybody got their own version of it. My version of it is when we were playing at that bar I was telling you about, Flame Bar.
Yep.
And one of those, it was like a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and we're down there. And we're just teenagers. Remember, we're kids still. We're teenagers. And we're just messing around because ain't nobody really down there. There's only about 2 or 3 people in there drinking or whatever and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're not playing that great. We're much better than what we're playing.
Yeah.
Because we're messing around because you ain't playing to nobody. You're playing to the seats or whatever. So anyway, we get off the stage and we hollow over in the corner and we're just kind of laughing and talking and stuff. And our trumpet player, Robert Martin, he said, man, damn, we sound really bad tonight. And we was like, yeah, we kind of. He said, man, we sound like a bunch of jelly beans. And we kind of said, what? And he said, Jellybean Johnson. And then everybody fell out. We just laughed about it. We didn't think nothing of it.
Yeah.
The next day, this dude comes. He brings me a T-shirt. I was real skinny then, so about a large T-shirt. And he has a vulture. It's a vulture, a picture of a vulture sitting on a fence out in the field somewhere, like crows. And he has Jellybean underneath it. And I said, man, dude. He said, yep, this is for you.
and the rest is just history.
And I've been
Right.
Jellybean ever since, man. And another Prince story compared to that. This is to show you how crazy. Y'all remember Jellybean? I know Dustin knows about Jellybean Benitez. When we were right before we were doing Purple Rain, Jellybean Benitez. Well, actually, I want to take that back. It was after that because he had found out that I was Jellybean.
Yeah.
And this is during this time when he was with Madonna. He was this famous DJ and everything. Anyway, he calls PRM Productions. And he told him he wanted to talk to Prince about making me change my name.
What?
Uh-oh.
And Dustin,
no.
you know
Oh
Prince.
no. Oh no.
You know Prince. You know
Right.
what happened with that. He got cussed out. Next time I see Jellybean Benitez, I'm at the Grammys, right? With Terry and Jimmy, I'm at the Grammys, and he's apologizing. Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
I had no idea.
I had no idea, man. Man, you're great, man. I'm so... I said, dude, I'm Jelly... Prince told him, say, he's Jellybean Johnson. You're Jellybean Benitez.
Yeah, there's room in the world for multiple Jelly Beans.
But you know he didn't tell him that nice.
You could be Jolly Rancher.
So that's what happened with that, man.
So was Control recorded on the 43rd Nicollet? I mean, that's just. Sometimes like I drive around the city and it's just like
crazy.
Yeah,
that is just amazing to me.
Every note
the
of
music
it.
that's come out of here.
Yeah. A lot of hits was on 43rd and Nicollet, man. That was back in our days. We did that. I did Alex. I played Innocent. I'll never forget. Prince introduced me to Miles Davis out at Paisley. I used to come out there hang out.
Yeah,
and Miles Davis told me, he said, dude, you know, Foley, I'm sure you know about Foley. You know, he's a world-class musician and stuff. He was his bass player at that point anyway. And he had turned Miles onto Innocent as near my guitar solo. And Foley said, man, Miles wanted to tell you, man. He said, that solo you did on Innocent is off the chain. And so I'm standing there with Miles. He said, yeah, that guitar solo you played. Now, I'm freaking out.
Right, exactly.
Because
It's Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Dude, it's Miles Davis. And he liked something I played.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy.
Yeah, so, you know, because I was thinking you're going from 43rd and Nicollet to Edina with Flight Time, right?
Yeah.
And the Edina Flight Time opens in 88, right? And they put some bucks into that. And then Prince is out building Paisley Park.
So it was crazy.
Like, are y'all in like
It was crazy,
a
dude.
studio arms race?
It was crazy. It was crazy. And it was funny too, man. And show you, that's the reason I kept a relationship with him afterwards, man, because I got so much musical stuff from him.
Yeah.
So I would go out and, you know, once Paisley was built, man, that's when he was nice. I could go out there and they let me in the shows and stuff.
Right.
And I cannot tell you how many times I jammed with him till, you know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Was it just,
there.
hey, we gonna bring it Northside?
We'd be out there and he would play, man, you know, because he loved to play.
Yeah.
So we'd be out there. I'd get up there and jam with him, man. He might come on.
Yeah.
He wouldn't come on to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning or some shit, but we'd be out there jamming, man. And he'd say, "Is Flight Time funky?"
Was this during the...
This is the 90s.
This is the 90s.
This is the 90s, bro.
Yeah, because we start going out there in 95.
Yeah,
so
around that time.
Yeah, so you get out there and you just...
be out there and just hang out with him, man.
And sometimes with fans,
I'd leave
sometimes
Flight Time.
not.
I'd leave Flight Time 1 o'clock after I've been working all day, and I'd go out there and hang out.
Which is, I mean, it's so cool if you think about it.
Yeah. It was a cool scene, man.
Do you remember your first time walking into Paisley? Like, what'd you think? Or...
Ah, man.
Do you remember him talking about
it all
building
gets blurry.
It gets so blurry, Dustin, because, you know, and I knew it was going to be big. So of course I was impressed, but you also, you know, Flight Time was building, you know, their shit was thing.
Right.
So I was in the middle of that too. So it was just, but his was, you know, Prince's was like this fortress.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
So
just
it's like,
ginormous.
But
ginormous.
Just
you know?
to come from
yeah.
playing out on the streets and like putting all that little money into your
Vincent Avenue
PAs
gigs.
and stuff,
It
and
was
then now
crazy,
it's like
man.
Flight Time.
It's
and
crazy, dude.
Paisley Park's being built. Like, I can't even imagine going through
And
that time.
that's all happening really within, I guess, from 68 to 88, right?
Yeah,
like,
when
I mean, that's 2
when
decades.
We're in the game, you know.
Yeah.
Get to the 80s, we're in the game.
You're running the game.
Well,
I mean, really.
we didn't realize. I think maybe I'll speak for me. I didn't realize just how big it was until I seen a band starting to dress like us and trying to play like us. And
Right.
I didn't realize that, man. I didn't see. When I first album, I had a smoking jacket. I can't tell you how many dudes roll up with a smoking jacket. Me and Morris was the two smoking jacket guys, you know. And everywhere we went in the country, there's some dude. His hair was curly,
ready to roll.
You ready to roll? Got a smoking jacket and some Stacy's.
You know you're big when people are dressing up as you for Halloween.
A thin tie and shit. You know, like, okay.
And then because you come back for Pandemonium.
Okay.
How does that connection happen? Because like you got Flight Time and Edina, you got Paisley Park. Prince wants to do Purple Rain 2.
Yeah, and you know, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I think that's the last time that we really got along with him.
Okay.
You know, that's when he was showing us love.
Yeah.
We were doing the Pandemonium record. I never forget going out to Paisley one night. I don't know who was with me. It was me or someone, because he was asking us what do we want out of the vault for Pandemonium, right?
Oh, wow.
And I'm sitting up in his quarters in the room, and I said, dude, I want chocolate and I want jerk out. And he said, well, Ben, you got them. You know, and that's how Flight Time. Now I'm sure Terry and Jimmy had, because they're big West Chili thing too. But
Yeah.
we ended up with that, and I never forget, man. This is some funny shit too. This is during his Kim Basinger time.
Oh, so it's the Batman era.
So this is Batman era.
Yeah.
So he brings her to the studio.
Ooh.
So me and Monty are in there comping vocals for something, one of the songs, and he comes in and he got her with me. So already I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger. But I can't act like it, right?
Right.
And he's like,
be cool.
Jellybean, what are you guys doing to my song? I said, you know how he was. And me and Monty, I said, bro, we're just comping vocals, man. He said, oh, really? Can I listen? I said, yeah. So we just doing our thing and stuff. And I'm still tripping because him and her just walking around Flight Time. Flight Time was impressive for that time. The big, because we got the big building and stuff too. So he's walking around. We had like 4 studios going, and we're working on our record in addition to all the other stuff productions we were doing. So it was tripped out to see him just walking through the halls and bringing her this. She's a movie star,
right.
And she's
Just
at the studio hanging out
on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday night.
He's like, look what I got.
Yeah, exactly. It's walking around the building. I'm like, damn. Like, so yeah, that.
So y'all were recording. That album gets done at Flight Time.
Yeah.
Not Paisley.
Yeah. He just sent us some stuff over from there, and he let us do whatever the hell. And that was unheard of then too, because he didn't he wouldn't let you mess with his stuff. Right.
Yeah.
He usually had to be in charge. He let us, and that's probably because Terry and Jimmy were huge then. That's the only reason.
He was like, we're riding this thing.
And Jesse too. Jesse was so he was that was his begrudgingly
Getting
respect. He was
nod of the head.
Yeah.
Tip
That
of the
was his
hat,
respect. Like these guys got hits, so I guess it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so y'all do that. You do the movie again. You're back in movies.
Yeah, it was such a nightmare, man. Because for one, and I think he found out, and I forgot who told us that making records is not the same as making movies.
Oh, it's a different deal all around.
That project was doomed from the start because he took over the movie directing part.
Yeah, he wanted it
He
all.
wanted total control, dude. And that's what it was. Purple Rain had a director for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, and that dude had a vision, right? He was able to pull that stuff together.
And McNally had a vision, and that's why it came out like it did.
Sometimes when Prince wants total control, it doesn't
matter.
Yeah.
You know this.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. Dude.
Like when he wanted to run what tour was that? The Gold Tour or something? He was trying to mix the sound.
Yeah.
He had the board on the side of the stage, and he was going to be the front house.
I saw some of them shows, man. I'm
I was like,
dude,
this mix ain't right.
Yeah. Dude, that was so crazy, Dustin, that you brought it, because that's when there was glam slams around there was one in France, there was one in Miami. I've been to all of them.
Yeah.
And that's when it was just him, Sonny, Tommy, and Maite, and
Boris.
And Bland.
And Michael. Yeah.
And Boris and the Bland, yeah. But
Tommy
anyway,
Barbarella too, right?
Yeah, Tommy was in it too,
yeah.
And that's when he have like a hut on stage, and the soundboard was back there, and he would come out and sing, do some stuff, play a badass guitar solo, and then he'd run back there and try to mess with the sound. I'm like, dude, I'm thinking that, man. But you couldn't say that.
Wasn't that the endorphin? Didn't he call it the endorphin machine?
Yeah.
What?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, people kind of thought he was crazy for a number of reasons during that era, which is a good segue. I mean, what did you think about, him writing Slave on his face and his battle with the record industry and all that stuff? Were you like, oh, I get it?
I get it, but I didn't think he could win the battle.
Okay.
That's the thing. But I would never tell him that.
Right.
Because, he had won so many battles, And so it was kind of weird at first, but you got to realize I had been in Prince universe for a while there, so nothing really surprised me.
So when he's like, "My name ain't my name anymore,"
Jellybean,
don't call me Prince.
No, I went through that, but the guys in the time. That's the one thing. Our North Side ghetto shit. All this stuff, all those rules he probably didn't apply to us.
Yeah, because we old school.
Yeah, we old school.
We knew you.
And we don't work for you
back then.
And you're Prince.
We talking shit.
You're still Prince. So he was still Prince to me.
Okay, so it never never changed.
It never changed for me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're like, dude, I ain't calling you
dude,
that.
I'm not doing that. I get what you're saying. I like this.
I appreciate you.
Design on your face and all that, but you're still Prince Rogers Nelson to me, dude.
So now, Morris starts to do his bit with the time, where it's like it's kind of the reconfiguration, and you're playing for him at that point because
that's 95.
95. Okay, so was that the first set of gigs that he starts doing on his own?
Yeah.
Okay. How'd that all go down?
Well, we basically saved him. He had got strung out and stuff, and he was out there doing nothing and stuff. And Jerome is the one that really talked him into, dude, let's get the band back together and start doing gigs. And that's what we did. He came. Jerome told him, because I was really close to Jerome then. He said, I can get Jellybean and Monty, and we can do this thing.
Yeah.
And Morris was worried about what me and Monty was going, because we already had hits, and how much we was going to charge him and all that stuff, So, but me, I always, that's the one thing me and Morris have in common. We like playing. We like playing in front of people.
Yeah.
And that's just in our blood.
Get you gigs if you can get
and that's
gigs
the thing, And so that's where he had us. And me and Monty had that bug, and he knew it, and Jerome too at that point. And so we did. And dude, within 2-3 months, he was back on his feet. He moved to Atlanta, everything. And the minute he moved, typical Prince, he got the Prince gene. The minute he got some more money, he changed again. He went back to the mode that he was back in the old days. When it was all about him. So, but we're still 40 years in now. So,
still doing it. Still doing it. Because were you doing? I was talking to Dustin last night about it. The New Year's Eve 1999 gig that wasn't quite New Year's Eve.
Yeah. That was was it Miami?
No,
Where?
here.
No,
At
Paisley.
Yeah.
We're on that rave to the
rave into the whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, because I mean that's like where you're first kind of connecting back. Because before that, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's when we finally,
How was that?
It was great, man. But that's the thing. Remember, that's the time too. I was still coming out there jamming and stuff.
Yeah, so you're connected.
I'm still connected. I'm always part of it.
Scene.
But Morris was just, they were finally getting the.
So when you say you're going out there jamming, who else is there? Who's on drums? Is it Michael B?
Michael might have been gone by then.
Kirk?
It probably was Kirk.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watched the Kirk and John Blackwell transaction. That was kind of different too. And
John Blackwell, though, he was a bad man. Rest in peace.
Dude, let me tell you a story about John. I saw John when he was 18 years old. He was in Cameo.
Yeah.
Okay.
18 years old. Just unbelievable. And the same thing that happened with him and Prince happened with him and Cameo. Larry Blackman it's almost like they was jealous.
Yeah,
I mean, this boy's pocket was he was doing all and Larry would still be on. And he rode him like So
he was pushing him.
He was on him all, and I thought it was bullshit. I'm gonna just be honest. Being a drummer and knowing how hard it is to play and stuff.
Right.
And a little side story about that. Me, Larry Blackman, Jerome Braley, and Diamond from Ohio Player. We were all in the Modern Drummer back then, and there's a thing around here somewhere, an article or that. Anyway, being funk drummers, legendary funk drummers, everything.
Yeah.
And so I would sit there, we would be in concert with Cameo sometimes, and I would go out and watch, and I just watch Larry be in front of him, just giving him mean mugging him and shit. I mean, This kid's 18 years old, just killing.
Right.
So anyway, move forward and shit, and he comes out. Which he told me in later years, how much he admired us and admired the whole Minneapolis thing.
He was a student.
So, he was a student.
When I was on tour with him, John Blackwell was constantly watching old videos of drummers and Parliament and Ohio Players, all that stuff.
Man,
Yeah, he was a student.
And so I went and seen him, man, and Prince was playing. This is when Larry Graham started to come on the scene, dude. And I never forget, man. We played somewhere. I don't know if this was one of the videos, whatever, and stuff. And we opened for him, and Larry was back there reprimanding Prince about cussing. And I was like, I was cringing. I was like, dude, this is what we do, dude.
Yeah. We've been doing this.
I mean, he was mad. That whole Jehovah Witness shit, man. And it was just on my nerves so bad. So I left the room. I just got out, because I just, and I didn't realize just how a profound effect that it ended up having on Prince. But you could tell then, because Prince still, I like the old Prince.
Yeah.
I like the one that,
and that's the one you grew up with.
And I grew up with, nasty, that's the one I grew up with. And Larry changed all that.
Yeah. What do you, so what does the last, 15, 20 years of your relationship with Prince look like? What? It
was, it was great all the way up to 2007 at the Super Bowl. I told him, I never forget seeing him at Bunkers and told him he was off the chain at the Super Bowl. And then remember, that's when he did something happened then, because then he started treating the time like shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was bad. It was really bad. You remember the 3 gigs downtown? The Target Center, 777,
Yeah.
First Avenue, and who did he play for? The before he did Target.
Macy's.
The
Yeah,
Macy's
because
concert.
of the perfume.
Because perfume. We were supposed to play that. He flew
Okay.
us. Sorry, the time we were in concert at Summerfest at Milwaukee the night before. He calls Morris, tells him, I want you guys to come open tomorrow at Target Center, right? All right. So I'm already kind of leery because the weird behavior had kind of really started manifesting and stuff. But I was just, okay. All right. So we was looking forward to it once again. It would have been good for us to play in front of 20,000 or whatever people it was going to be. Now, so side note to that, my baby's mama, my manager, business partner, the closest thing to wife, Marty Bragg anyway, and my daughter, Georgia Blues, they went downtown and stood outside for hours to get tickets.
Oh, I was there.
To go. And it was like 100 degrees.
And like 150.
Yeah.
It was so hot.
Yeah. So
The
anyway,
first Ave gig.
so all right, it gets
hot.
to be 4:30 in the afternoon. He already doing the Macy thing, right?
Yep.
4:30 in the afternoon. We're supposed to report for sound check in the Target Center, right?
Yeah. And
so
he's
limo
there.
comes. No, limo comes and said, we get a call. He said, limo's driver said, I was told not to pick you guys up.
What?
And we were like, what do you mean? He said, yeah, he decided that he didn't want to use you guys tonight. No explanation, no nothing. So now,
He just mad.
man, dude, I'm in tears. Morris was so much, first, and then he had us at the Chanhassen Inn. Way out in Chanhassen, away from everything that's going on. You know? So Morris lost it. He said, man, F this. He said, JB, who is his bodyguard time, I'm moving down. He went and got a suite downtown in one of the hotels.
Yeah.
And left. So we're out there. Thank God I'm here in my house.
He's like, I'm going home.
So I'm going home.
Yeah.
I'm going F home.
Go
I went
be with
home.
my guitars.
Yeah, don't. Oh my God. So all right. So you know what happened. You did the show. So anyway, so I'm out that night and I'm out in the clubs and shit. And this, there's been a few times in my career where fans will cross the line, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there at bunkers on the front seat up there, watching. I don't know if it was the combo, whoever I'm watching anyway. And so, and I'm drinking my Jack. This is my drinking days and everything. And I'm just mad, I'm just sitting there and watching the thing. And so this chick comes up and she's raving about Prince, and I didn't really want to hear it and stuff. And so anyway, she came up and said, and she heard me over talking, telling one of my friends what had happened. She said, then she came up, she broke in our conversation. She said, well, Jellybean, you should be just happy that Prince, Prince gave you a career, all that. Dude. She caught me on a bad night, Justin. And she didn't know I was Jellybean Johnson, right? Yeah. So I said, first of all, whoever the door guy was, I said, dude, come get this here and put her out.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, no. And dude came and got her and said, you got to go. And she couldn't believe it. Well, what? No, you don't get to say whatever you want to say to me.
Right.
You know I'm already mad and sitting here.
Yeah.
You obviously in my conversation, you shouldn't have been.
Right.
And now you think you're going to sit here in this club with me?
Right.
Oh, no, not tonight.
and so that night turns because then that builds into the time not being able to be the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that happens after that.
That
happens after that. But
so that whole season just gets weird.
It just got weird, and he was weird toward us, man. It didn't really, and I hate to kind of bring this up, but it's the truth. It didn't really kind of heal for us until 2016 when we played a few months before he died.
Yeah.
Because we played Paisley.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he called us. We were out on the road once again. It's 2016. We out on the road once again. And he called Morris and he asked, that's in that cartoon we got out too that tells the two bus. And he asked Morris, he wanted us to play, Paisley. And so Morris told me, I said, man, I talked to Morris crazy. I said, first of all, I say, if, remember, this happened after he had been on Jay Leno or one of them shows. Remember one of them shows, what's the one that Questlove's band is on there? Remember?
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon,
and took dude's guitar and destroyed it. Remember that shit?
Yep.
And so during this time, for this brief time for Morris Eagles thing, me and Morris was doing that switch in concert where I would go out front and play the guitar.
Nice.
And so, and Morris would go back and play drums.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're a few gigs before that. I said, Morris, I said, dude, I said, okay, I said, I know you. The only reason Morris agreed to it, he sent the money.
Yeah.
He sent all his money up front. Yeah. He says that in the cartoon. He said, oh, he prepaid it. So I'm telling Morris, I said, dude, I said, I know you may not want to hear this, dude, but I'm telling you, I said, if Prince matches my guitar tomorrow night, I said, dude, it's gonna be on, dude.
It's gonna be
on.
You were ready.
I told him.
Yeah.
I told Morris, he's like, Bean, dude, Bean, it's okay, it's okay.
But you
he
were,
said, dude,
but that's where the
mindset. That's where our relationship was.
Yeah. So you get out there.
So we get out there and it goes great. They said he was. I never saw him. That's God, I guess. God, I never saw. They said he was dancing around the crowd. And
oh yeah, he was totally, because I DJ'd that party.
Oh yeah, they said
and he was in the back hanging out. He was having a great time.
And I never saw him. Yeah. And so anyway, what the craziest thing from that night, the whole craziest thing, we're back up in the dressing room after the gig and stuff. And you know, in Paisley, you know this, Dustin, you get that call. Mm-hmm. And Morris got that call in our dressing room. Prince wants to see you.
Yeah. For what? What'd I do?
So Morris looked kind of scared.
What's Prince?
Yeah, exactly. So they come and get him, right? We don't see Morris for the next 2-3 hours, bro.
Yeah, they just hanging out.
They're just hanging out, man, and that's what this is about.
They kind of made amends there, right?
They paid amends right there. And so Morris came back. I'll never forget that ride back to the hotel. Morris was messed up, dude. He was telling us all these things. Prince wanted to take us out. Remember, he was just doing the piano and the microphone.
Yeah.
So he was talking about taking us. He wanted us to go to Europe and all that. He had always preached. Morris still ain't understand that about Europe. We still don't play Europe as much as we should to this day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure y'all would.
Yeah. Well, Morris, But anyway, Prince had been telling him. He told him many times in his career. Morris. He said, when I first went over there, I didn't make any money. He said, I went over there. You go over there, you kill him. Then you can name your price. And he basically did.
Yeah.
Yep.
He played Europe. He made millions and millions of dollars in Europe. Which justifies so, because they made millions and millions of dollars off him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you think that last Paisley gig and him inviting you, is he like? I mean,
I think he knew.
That's where I was going.
I think he knew. And
hey, this is like I gotta make some things right.
I gotta
here.
make some things right, and he made it right with Morris, and that's what messed Morris up so bad, because Morris said he told him he loved him, and he never done that.
Yeah.
That didn't come out of Prince's mouth. You know, many times he told me, Bean, you funky, you nasty, and all that. That's as close to love
as it gets.
Yeah, Bean, you tearing the guitar up, you bad at I need a solo, Jellybean. But that's as much love I was gonna get.
But these are long-standing friendships and relationships, and y'all grown men at this point,
we're
right?
Grown men. We're grown men.
And you started, right? You're 12, 13, and then you...
Yeah. So it's crazy, man.
Well, you know, I know you're doing some work here on the Minneapolis Museum. We're gonna wrap with this because I want to talk about this for a minute, because you got the deal on June 7, 2023 for those that are listening to it before
in the future.
Yeah. You know, and that's happening at the Capri from 6 to 10. Minneapolis Museum. What is the Minneapolis Museum, and what are you trying to do there?
We're in the process right now trying to get capital. We want to build a Minneapolis Sound Museum, and our whole thing is about, you know, everybody knows about Prince and Paisley and all that. They know that side of the story. I want to tell the other side of the story, the people that, you know, were just so much of a part, but nobody knows about them.
Right.
So, you know, a lot of cats that Prince grew up with were great musicians, but people don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and so this is the part to get the guys off the north side that were essential. Me, Spike Mosses, you know, all the, you know, the Joe Lewises and all the different people, all the people I grew up idolizing that helped, and the Prince idolized too, quite, the Sonny T's.
So this Minneapolis Sound Museum,
without them, there's no Prince.
Without there's no Prince, but people don't know that.
So
that's the thing.
So the Minneapolis Sound Museum, what does that look like in 5 years, right? You're doing some fundraising now.
We're doing some fundraising, we're trying to find it, and we want to keep it on the north side, even though what, you know, and my business partners say don't talk about what goes on the north side, but I don't, but you know, we want to help build it up.
Yeah,
I mean, because it's just crazy. You know, it's just a crazy time. But I think that's where we all grew up at, so it makes sense for it to be over there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy stuff going north sides for sure, but you know, there's a lot of great stuff too.
There's a lot of great stuff too.
I
just saw something today. They putting a new thing. It's not going to be ready till 2025, but it's some
the aero engineering.
Yeah, did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I mean-
the more stuff we get over there, the more opportunities people have to work and make money. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I mean the community. You look at like what Spike did,
Yeah.
and continues to do, but with the way and with
Yeah.
y'all, like people doing work,
they got
and
businesses
and
on-
doing stuff.
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
you do work,
Well,
things
do that.
happen.
You do work, and then you get maybe the crime will stop. Some.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
They
The
see,
Minneapolis Sound Museum shouldn't be any Dinah.
No,
Justin,
thank you. I didn't want to say it. You said it for me.
Well, let us
And
know.
plus, my family wouldn't let me do that anyway. Oh hell no, we're not going out there.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, right?
Yeah,
Because it is about a community of people, a culture that was built, and
Yeah.
all of the various forces that were at play to make Minneapolis music what it was, right?
Yes, it didn't just come out of air. It was a culture. We grew up in a culture.
Well, whatever we can do to help.
Oh
that.
yeah. Well, Dustin, that's
Dustin,
one of my musical nephews.
Yeah.
He's funky. He's funky. There's a reason Prince. He was Prince's DJ. There's a reason.
There is a reason. I believe that.
Prince didn't mess with you. You wasn't funky. He let you know.
True that.
Trust me.
Well, let us know what we can do to help, because I think
absolutely.
it's that history, that legacy. I mean, that's stuff people need to know.
Yeah.
That is stuff
and
people
that's my
need to know.
job.
Sure.
I want to do it. I'm in the fourth quarter. I want to do it before I leave here.
Amen.
there we
I
go.
like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Dudley, what else you got?
I don't know, man. I mean, I just want to thank you for, like you said, you go out, when I was playing in a band at bunkers and stuff, like it means a lot when Jellybean shows up and
Yeah.
hangs out and
And
not only watches your band but then all of a sudden you can call Jellybean up and he's gonna play a little solo on something like boom. I'm sure you hear it a lot, but just
I
the
really-
Minneapolis scene appreciates you for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I always said. I've been to all the scenes around the country, the Austins and the Memphis and New York, all the places, and nobody has a music scene like us. And people get mad at me, but I'm telling you. And I have so many, like Dustin said, he's like one of so many gifted musical nephews here.
Yeah.
I mean, all instruments, be it a DJ, a guitar player, a bass player, a drummer. It's so many of them, and I'm Uncle Bean. And they're world class musicians.
Yeah.
Like Stokely Williams, another one. I did Conditions' first record. And Stokely is phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal. His wheel set's like Prince in a lot of ways.
I feel like we got a whole nother episode. I'm just saying. Like
Part one. This is part one.
This is part one.
Part one.
Y'all can come get me when you want.
We do another one, because I mean there's all kinds of roots that are going out from y'all, right?
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
there's like what happens next. We
Yeah.
barely got into that,
Absolutely.
but
it's just the whole musical family we got around.
We would keep going, but Jellybean's gonna go play tonight.
he's got a gig, man. He's got a gig.
We might just follow him and go to the show. We might go just hang out for tonight.
Every Monday night, it's free. It's the blues. That's my blues spot. That's a lot of blues.
Are you just sitting in, or are you playing all night?
I just sit in. I just sit in.
Just go hang out.
I did a blues record. I have to mention him. He's like my nephew. He's coming here to play at the Madonna Ballroom with Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush, the old blues.
Nice.
Juke joint king and stuff. And his name is Ronnie Baker Brooks. His dad was Lonnie Brooks.
Okay.
Chicago? Guitar, Chicago
Yep.
blues. And I did his first 3 records, man. And he's the one that really turned me on the blues royalty. We opened for B.B. King, Milton, all that stuff. In addition to all the funk stuff, I was doing that too on the side. So
you got the blues,
We
you got
got
rock,
blues,
you got
blues, rock,
you got it all.
metal, you name it, I got it there.
That's why
We definitely got part 2 coming.
Jellybean Johnson
Yeah.
putting us on the map, doing things. Thank
Can
you so much.
Hold
Thank
on.
you.
Before, just let our listeners know where they can find your music, like your website or.
The website, the Jellybean Johnson website, the Minneapolis Music, MinneapolisSoundMuseum.com.
Okay.
Jellybean-Johnson.com. My music is actually on Apple, and all the different outlets is there.
Go make it happen. Go get that
Yeah.
music. We
Get
appreciate
Experience, the Jellybean Johnson Get Experience album.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Order it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
This has
was
been a
great.
pleasure,
This
man.
has been
man.
fantastic.
Thank y'all. Y'all are the truth.
Yeah.
Man. Y'all are the truth.
This is Purple Highs. I'm Mark Bondi here with my co-host.
DJ Dudley D.
Peace.
And
Peace.
Peace and be wild.
So y'all give me a talk and I couldn't shut up. Now I'm sweating.
amazing. That was amazing.